Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Shir in Moshiach on the internet. Thanks to you and your participation, the Shir has grown to be the largest Shir in Moshiach in the world. Please keep it up by spreading in Moshiach this Shir, the previous Shurim, and any other Inyanim of Moshiach that you learn with your friends, family, and neighbors. This week's Shir is the 13th consecutive Shir in Moshiach. The number 13 is very much connected with the Inyan of Moshiach, because 13 is the gematria of the word Echad, which Achdus Yisrael is what brings Moshiach when Yidden are one. As a matter of fact, this Shir is being given in the week that we finished the Rambam for the 30th time. Those that learn 3 prakim a day, which the Rebbe said that Limud Rambam brings Achdus to Klal Yisrael, beside the fact that everyone's learning the same thing, and also that the Takan of Rambam includes men, women, and children. The Inyan of Achdus is also brought out when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Lekeinu Hashem Echad, that Hashem is one, which I want to tell you an interesting story about that. I was once speaking about in Yonah Moshiach giving a shir, and someone that was not Lubavitch, he came to me after the shir, and he said, Rabbi Avtzon, why in Lubavitch do we koch so much in Moshiach? So I asked him, what should we koch in? He said, why don't you koch in Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? I told him, why don't you open up Chumash Rashi? What does Rashi say about Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? At first glance, we're repeating it. Shema Yisrael, listen Yidden, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is our God, Hashem Echad, God is one. So if you look in Rashi, Rashi says that Bizman HaGolos Hashem Elokeinu, that Hashem is only the God of the Yidden. But in Yemois HaMoshiach, Hashem Echad, the Eibishter will be the Balabas over the entire world. The whole world will realize the greatness and the Gadlus and the Malchus of the Eibishter. So I showed him that Shema Yisrael is in Yonagul Mashiach. That in Yonagul Mashiach, like the Rambam says in Hilchos Melachim, Kol HaSvarim Meleim B'Dover Zeh. The Inyan of Mashiach in every single pasuk, in all the Tanakh, and all the Inyanim that we learn is really permeated with Inyanigul Mashiach. Speaking about the number 13, reminds us of the Shleimus of Yidden in the times of Mashiach, when all the Yidden are going to be together, all the 12 Shvatim are going to be together in Eretz Yisrael. But the Gemara says in Baba Basra that not only will Eretz Yisrael be split amongst the 12 Shvatim, including, there will also be a 13th portion. It will be split 13 ways, and the Gemara actually discusses who's going to be the 13th Chelek, who's it going to go to. So one opinion says that's going to go to Shevet Levi, like we explained in the previous year, that when Mashiach comes, Shevet Levi will have a part in Eretz Yisrael. But there's another opinion there, it says that it's going to go to the Nasi. And Rashi asks, Ve'ezahu ha-Nasi? Who is the Nasi? When you say about the Rebbe, Nasi Deirenu, who's the Nasi? Answers that Rashi, Zehu Melech HaMoshiach, that when we refer to the Nasi, Nasi is Melech HaMoshiach. So in the schus of the shir which we're going to learn tonight, to continue the topic of last week about the Aseres HaShvatim, the lost tribes, the way they're going to be brought back to Eretz Yisrael when Mashiach comes, it's the schus, the hizgalus of Nasi Deirenu, Mashiach Tzidkenu. In our previous year, we discussed the exile of the Shvatim and how they're living, the different groups and where they are, the Sambatyan River. And in this week's shir, we are going to discuss some of the interaction there has been over the years with people or the Shvatim behind the Sambatyan River. The most famous Inyan, the most famous person who has interacted with us from the Aseres HaShvatim, which much controversy has been told about this person, is the famous Eldad Hadoni. A couple hundred years ago, nearly 1,000 years ago, there was someone that came, and his name was Eldad. And Eldad said that he was from Shevet Dan. And he started explaining the entire history of how the Aseres HaShvatim were taken out of Eretz Yisrael, and he told us the way they were living and the halachas that they had. And now over the years there's been a lot of controversy about whether it's really true or not, but based on many of the Rishonim and many of the Achronim, most people take the story of Eldad for sure at a certain part of it as emes. That yes, there is verification that Eldad at the very least has contacted the Aseres HaShvatim. As a matter of fact, if you open up the Tosfos in Chulin, where it speaks about Shechita, a lot of the halachos that Eldad Adoni brought back were halachos pertaining to Shechita. The Tosfos quotes a hilchas of Eretz Yisrael, the halachos of Eretz Yisrael. And many people ask, who is this? Where is this halachos of Eretz Yisrael? Where is it coming from? And they explain that this halachos of Eretz Yisrael is actually referring to the halachos of Eldad Hadani. Why is it called Eretz Yisrael? Because Eretz Yisrael is a land that Yidden are in charge of. As a matter of fact, in the time of Golus, the only land that Yidden are in charge of is actually the land of Aseres HaShvatim behind the Sambatim, where they are actually in charge of the land. That is one opinion. Other opinions say that really, in the original Tosfos, it said in the book, the original Ksav Yad, the halachos of Aleph Yud, which is the halachos of those which are far away in Judea, but the one that typesetted it said, oh, it's probably Eretz Yisrael. But either way, many of the Rishonim and the Achronim discussed the halachos of Eldad Hadani, and at the very least are Moshiachis to it in a real way. So that he describes, and a lot of his travels and his descriptions are documented. He's the most famous person that has, so to speak, interacted with us from the Aseres HaShvatim. There has been other documented visits from people of the Aseres HaShvatim. For example, at one point, there was a Yid, a very short Yid, described he came to the Vatican to buy weapons for his Shvatim, and he was from Shevet Ruvain. He claimed to be from Shevet Ruvain. He only spoke Lashon Kodesh, and he said that he was from Shevet Ruvain. He came, and he disappeared right after he bought the weapons. Another very famous visit was there was someone that came to Hungary, and he stayed in the house of a Rav in Hungary. And actually, in that house, he came for Pesach. And he claimed to be from the Aseres HaShvatim. And he actually had with his possession a sefer called Sefer HaAviv, which is Achenu B'nei Yisrael Begoyla. It's the acronym, the Rosh Hashanah of the word Aviv, which means that they kept documents, they keep record of all the Goinim and what's going on with the Yidden in our part of the Golos. And this person was very, very, very frum. For example, he had his own Seder, and he was saying all mystical explanations, and he only ate matzah the nights of the Seder. The rest of the Pesach he only had fruits and vegetables. And he was a person that they right away noticed had a special spiritual touch to him. For example, any sefer that was brought to him, he didn't have to read it or see it. If he touched it and he realized that it wasn't a holy sefer, he would throw it out. He was able to just feel the sefer and know if it was a sefer kodesh or not. And from eyewitnesses, documents, it brings out an interesting story that there was a certain dog that used to come always to this rabbi's house. And when this guest came, this person who claimed to be from the Aseres HaShvatim, he looked at the dog and he started yelling at it. And the rabbi asked him, what's going on? And he said, don't you see that this is a Gilgul from a certain Yid that converted to Christianity? And he's coming to ask you for a tikkun, to fix his neshama. And sure enough, this Yid gave this dog this tikkun, and the dog disappeared and never came back again. So there were a lot of ruchnistic things that happened with this person who claimed to be coming from the Aseres HaShvatim to see what is going on with the Yidden in the time of Golus. According to tradition, as a matter of fact, the famous Chaim HaKodesh, who lived in Eretz Yisrael, spent one Shabbos behind the Sambatyan River. And this is the way the story goes. It's documented in many Svarim. This is the way the story goes. It seems to be that one of the tzaddikim, a tzaddik Nister, once came to Eretz Yisrael. And he came to the yeshiva of the Chaim. And being that he was a tzaddik Nister, nobody recognized him. And no one gave him his due respect, the proper respect. And in Beis Din Shel Maila was paskin that the Chaim would have to suffer a little bit, that he should be not respected himself. The problem was that bring the Chaim to any place in the world, everyone knew him, and he would right away get respect. The only way he can be in a place without getting respect was finding a group of Yidden that don't know him at all. So sure enough, he was banished. One day he finds himself one Friday afternoon behind the Sambatyan River. And the Yidden from the Aseres HaShvatim, the Bnei Moshe, they didn't know who he was, so they quickly put him into what they called their prison. And only towards the end of Shabbos, the time of Shalosh Shudas, right away they took him out. And they started giving him big respect. And he asked them, why are you giving me this respect? He said, you're the Chaim, right? He started to kvetch, and he said, yes. How did you know? So their leader, who the leaders of the Yidden behind the Aseres HaShvatim, they called the Moshe of their generation, they actually said like this, that every Friday night, the Chaim used to say Torah Friday night and Shabbos by Shalosh Shudas. He says he went up Friday, to Gan Eden, to hear the Torah of the Chaim, who was the Rav of that time, the Poisik of the time, the Tzaddik of the time. And there was no shir. He asked him, why not? The Chaim is not giving his shir this week. Shabbos afternoon, the Chaim is not giving his shir. So I asked other tzaddikim, why is the Chaim not giving his shir? So they said that he was banished, he was put in golos. They asked, where is he? And they told me he's actually in your backyard. So I quickly realized that this person who we put into prison was really the famous Chaim. They took him out and he said Torah and he gave him a lot of respect. And Motzei Shabbos, Hashem, they brought him back to Eretz Yisrael. The point is that those few hours at least, he so to speak got punished and he was disrespected. He said it was the best time of his life, that he wasn't given all the covet. But in short, the Chaim visited the Aseres HaShvatim. There's been other people that have tried to follow and find the Aseres HaShvatim documented in different history. There's the famous Tayor, the famous person, his name is Rabbi Gershon Avtzon, that the Yidden sent him a few hundred years ago. There was a big Zera on Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. So the Rabbanim of Eretz Yisrael, they sent this Rabbi Gershon to the jungles of India to find the Aseres HaShvatim, to bring back reinforcements, chizuk, for the Yidden of Eretz Yisrael. And according to tradition, he actually went and he actually got lost and he met somebody of the Aseres HaShvatim and he brought them a letter, which that letter is copied. We have today documented the famous letter El Aseres HaShvatim, which they plead, the Rabbanim and Eretz Yisrael are describing their matziv and they're pleading with the Aseres HaShvatim to rejoin Klal Yisrael. So it says that he met up with a messenger of theirs, he gave them the letter, but they never got back to him. There was another case, that there was actually a Persian king that conquered, certainly they had different fights in India, and they actually captured somebody who was from the Aseres HaShvatim, and the Persian king set him free on condition that he lives in Persia, and he actually married the daughter of the local Iranian in Isfahan, the local Rav. And he's also documented to have been from the Aseres HaShvatim. Either way, we know that the Aseres HaShvatim are well on their way back. They're going to be returned to Klal Yisrael. Has there been any interaction with the Rebbe with the Aseres HaShvatim? It's a very interesting thing. Everyone knows the pictures of the photographer Eliona. So this Eliona actually has been obsessed with the Aseres HaShvatim ever since the Rebbe started koching sich and learning about Moshiach. He made it his mission to find the Aseres HaShvatim. And he asked the Rebbe Baruch if he should, and the Rebbe shook his head. It was after the stroke. and they gave him a bracha. And he went out with a few rabbonim who were involved with finding these people. And there are different heroes from the Rebbe, for example, that even if people claim to be from the Aseres HaShvatim, they need to go through Gir, Chumrah, because we don't know the Messiah exactly if they had it. But they went off to India, and they found, not just a tribe, a whole nation, a whole country of Yidden, of people, who consider themselves to be from Bnei Menashe. They have a whole song which they speak about their great-grandfather Menashe. Till today, from past 2,000 years, everyone in that country, in order to get married, they have a chuppah and they give a tabas kiddushin. They do yibum and chalitza. They actually have men over there, they actually have strings on their pants, on their shirts. They said that they had Sifrei Torah for hundreds of years, but like 100 years before, some Christian missionaries came and they tried to missionize the people, and they took away the Sifrei Torah. But they have documents and amulets that say Shema Yisrael. We're not talking about 10, 20 people. We're talking about a whole nation of people which claim to be from the Shevet Menashe. They also found the whole tribe of people deep in India which claim to be from Shevet Ephraim. But the point is that there are these tribes of people, and the pasuk says, "V'haya b'yemahu yitaka b'shofar gadol, uvo evdim beretz Asher v'nidochem beretz Mitzrayim mishtachva Hashem b'har hakodesh b'Yerushalayim." That before Moshiach, everyone's going to be awakened to come close to tshuva. If you want to know more about the Aseres HaShvatim and how different nations seem to have the customs of the Aseres HaShvatim, I will give you a good place to look. Go to the computer, type in www.moshiach.com, and there's a link there to the 10 lost tribes, and you'll find fascinating information regarding the Aseres HaShvatim. The main thing is that it says about Moshiach that Melech HaMashiach v'yikabitz nitchei Yisrael, that we will bring the ingathering of Yidden to Eretz HaKodesh, and the Sicha Vayakel Tovshin Beis. The Rebbe said about Yidden leaving Russia, which they were oppressed and put down and held back from leaving, that Yidden leaving Russia and being brought to Eretz Yisrael, which was actually called Operation Eagles, the Wings of Eagles, people bringing the Yidden to Eretz Yisrael, was the beginning of Kibbutz Goliath Skipshutah, that Yidden are going to Eretz Yisrael. We should be Zoiche to have the ultimate Kibbutz Goliath through Melech HaMashiach. And like the Rambam says, Meheira Yigale Amen Kein Yehi Rotzen.